Sister fainted.
Oh,
Just
wow.
altitude sickness, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I suppose that's.
Yeah.
You probably.
When I jumped from 14,000 feet, we had to wear oxygen.
Yeah.
Were you using the military?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine.
It's already starting to prepare the meeting without me asking for a second password, so we're going to see what happens here.
We're now live.
You're live?
Yeah.
Meeting is now live.
No, we'll be live in a moment, but I have.
Okay, we'll see what happens here. Let's try again.
Yeah, it's funny, you take your stuff out of your house and it never works the same.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's placed.
Well, if we
just
didn't have a glitch, it wouldn't be us.
Yeah.
I can start watching you guys now. Is it?
There.
We're back.
I think we're here now. Get in the camera there together. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our Sunday night offering of Astronomy Outreach, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show. We are live from a remote location tonight. We are actually in Florenceville, New Brunswick this evening, and we do have a special guest here that we're going to introduce here in a second, but we are talking all about the eclipse, of course, the big day that's going to be happening tomorrow for all of us. We are super excited. I'm like a kid at Christmas right now. It's like Christmas Eve for me. And I've never seen an eclipse, a total eclipse, so I mean, I can't wait until this event happens tomorrow. And it looks like we're going to get clear skies at the moment, so we're pretty excited about everything. So tonight we're going to have our special guest here with us this evening, and Lionel Bennett is going to be back with another Binocular Target of the Week, Mike. And Paul's going to bring us another Rosanna's Fun Fact episode. We'll talk a little bit about the current contest going on again, and that the date has now been extended out to Friday, so get your children to bring in those drawings and send them in, and we have some really nice prizes to give away for that. So with that, we're going to carry on, and we're going to have our special guest here give us a discussion on his eclipses.
Eclipses I've known and loved, right? Aloha, everybody. And I'm Tom Dval. I'm from Hilo, Hawaii. I am an emeritus astronomer at the Gemini Observatory. Emeritus kind of means lazy. That means I don't have to do anything. I have an office. I still have my office costs paid for, and my publications paid for. I can travel, my conference travel paid for, and I don't have to do anything because I don't get any money anymore. But yeah, so I've managed to witnessed two total eclipses of the sun. The first one I saw was in Hawaii, and it was kind of touch and go because the weather was not looking very good, but we basically gave up, parked on the side of a road on a hillside, and lo and behold, the clouds parted right where when the sun went into a total eclipse, which was amazing. And then the other one was much easier, except it was in Salem, Oregon, which was in 2017, I think, and I flew there, stayed with friends, and the weather was perfect. And when I was invited by my friend Elspeth here to come here, Elspeth is part of a family that we've known for a long time, since the 1970s in the Netherlands, when both of my wife and I and Elspeth and her sisters and mother and father were all living in in a small town in the Netherlands, and we've always wanted to come back and see them. So when Elspeth told me about the eclipse and asked me to come, I thought, well, I can't imagine why I'd go to New Brunswick for an eclipse, given what the weather's like. But we do want to see the family, so we'll go. And if the weather's good here, that'll just be the icing on the cake. And that seems to be what's happening.
Seems what you brought the sun with you.
Yeah, I guess so.
You
Yes.
brought the clear sky with you for
Yeah,
sure. So yeah, it's going to be an extra special event. I'm sure everybody is excited about this and
Yeah.
jumping through their skin. I'm jumping through hoops, of course.
Yeah.
But
It is a very exciting event. I think you really start getting excited, not just when the partial eclipse starts, but as it gets toward totality and the sky gets darker, the air gets a little cooler, you know something strange is happening in the middle of a day, and then it's very exciting. And then bang, all of a sudden you're in it, and you can see this remarkable outer atmosphere of the sun, the corona.
that's the one thing that we're looking forward to
Yeah.
the most. I think most of us. Yeah,
Yes.
it's that view. Also we've got Jupiter and Venus in the sky
That's right.
at this point, this time around, and there's a comet passing through, 12P Pons Brooks passing through. So whether we'll get a view of the comet or not, I guess it's going to be kind of maybe binocular view. I'm not sure. It's running right around magnitude 5 right now, so
Oh.
it might be possible.
I see.
A few stars of Orion, I guess, might be up in the sky at the same time. So
Yep.
it should be a pretty amazing event, no matter where you are throughout the path of totality.
Yes.
And also, of course, everybody who's outside that path, like we're from St. John, so we get about 98% in St. John. Still going to be a very thrilling event, I think, for those who are just outside the path. I think everybody in North America gets some portion of a view this go around.
Yes, yeah. Not very exciting if it isn't
No.
close to totality,
No.
but there is a long strip of land starting in, I guess, Mexico, and
Mexico.
going through the United States and through Canada. And what's amazing right now is that the forecast for the best weather is right here in New Brunswick. And I have friends who went to Texas to
see the
view it, and they're letting me know the weather's very iffy. They're not sure what they're going to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like it did a complete
Yes,
reversal.
it's the opposite
We're
of
usually
what
the
you'd
ones
expect.
that have the bad weather in April, especially this time
Yes.
of year for us, for sure.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not complaining.
No, yeah, we won't be complaining at all.
Yes.
So you've been retired for,
For 6 years.
6 years now,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I'm actually still doing a little bit of support work because you kind of have a guilty feeling when you go to the office and sit in your office and do the things you want to do, and everyone else is screwing around worrying about various issues that have come up regarding the telescope and so on. So I do try to help out a little bit, but I can really come and go as I please. And
so you've been at a 14,000 foot level, you mentioned
Yes.
earlier, and that experience must be something.
it's a beautiful view from Mauna Kea, especially beautiful when at sunset, when it's a nice, beautiful night and the sun's going down in the west, and this shadow of Mauna Kea is coming up in the east. It looks like a triangle, and it goes up quite a bit in the sky, quite
wow.
far in the sky, and you see this dark shadow. It's in the air, not on the ground.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then the sun sets and it suddenly disappears. But it's remarkable. Yeah, and Mauna Kea is, I would say, overall, is probably the best site in the world for astronomy. There are many criteria in which you judge a site, and Mauna Kea isn't first in all of them, but it's first in probably the most important one, which is image quality. Because it's a tall mountain in the middle of a vast ocean. The sun can shine down on the ocean all day, doesn't heat up the ocean, so there's nothing to cool down. Whereas that telescope in the middle of a continent it's surrounded by ground that gets heated up, and then during the night that ground radiates heat, which causes turbulence in the air, which means the images of the stars are blurrier.
Right.
Blurred, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're blurred to some extent on Mauna Kea, but much less. So what we can, you probably know the word seeing, right? That means
Yeah.
what's the image quality.
Seeing.
What we call poor seeing in Mauna Kea, people would kill for on the mainland.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And here in New Brunswick,
Poor seeing for us is under 0.8 of an arc second, from 0.6 to
Oh, my
0.8 or
goodness.
0.9 arc seconds, yeah.
Wow.
Yes, and sometimes the seeing gets down to 0.2 or 0.15 arc seconds, natural seeing.
But you can get to a point where your seeing is actually to the point that your optics may be too large for it.
No, I
Or is it the opposite of that?
No, I don't think we can get down to what's called the diffraction limit, which is the best you can do.
Right.
Yeah, which depends on the wavelength of the light you're looking at. And optically, we can't get down to the diffraction limit. The wavelengths are too short.
Okay.
But in the infrared, we often do get down to the diffraction limit, and you can actually see the diffraction rings around the star.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So some of the things that you've done over the time that you were at that particular observatory.
Yes.
Is there some highlights in your life?
Yeah, well, there are many. There are many. I should say, to preface it, that although I'm an astronomer, I never took an astronomy course. I got into it through physics, through building instrumentation, and learning astronomy as I went, and collaborating with other astronomers who knew what they wanted to do, knew the science, and I helped them get the data that they wanted, and ended up being a collaborator with them. And then in the process, learned how to do my own research. So I've been involved in a wide variety of things. Maybe the most long-lasting one has been studying using a particular molecular ion called H3+, which is 3 hydrogen atoms with an electron missing. So it's 3 protons and 2 electrons. It's very important in interstellar chemistry. We see in the clouds out of which stars form, we see lots of molecules like carbon monoxide, water, formaldehyde, ammonia, and almost all of those molecules are formed as a result of reactions that began with H3+ bumping into something and giving its protons to something like a carbon atom. And then through a network of reactions, all these other things get made. So it's something that astronomers came to understand, that H3+ was at the core of the ion molecule chemistry in space, but nobody had been able to observe it. And I worked with a professor from Chicago, Takeshi Oka, who measured the spectrum in the laboratory, and then I got enlisted to help him try to find it in space. And eventually, after a long, long time, we found it. And now we find it everywhere. And we use it not only just to show that this chemistry exists, but to understand the environment of the gas in which the H3+ is located. And the most interesting part of that has been studying the gas surrounding the black hole at the galactic center, where we've learned a lot of new and information about the nature of that gas that wasn't known before. So that's one thing that I pursue. But I'm involved in many other things, studying novae, supernovae, star formation, the surfaces of the outer planets and the moons, and the upper atmospheres of some of the gas giant planets. And
when I just Googled your name and your observatory, the list of things went on and on. I said, this can't be right. This must
I'm
be...
old, so
No, I mean,
I've been around for a while.
But that tells me that there's just so much to learn. It's just unbelievable.
Oh yes. Astronomy is it's the oldest science in the sense that the cavemen and cavewomen looked up the sky how many thousands of years ago, who knows, and wondered about it. But it's also a new science in that we know there's so little we know, and what we've learned in just the last generation has changed introductory astronomy. Introductory physics, introductory chemistry are pretty much the same, even though there's huge advances there too. But introductory astronomy, if you looked at a textbook from 30 or 40 years ago, and compared to what we know now, there's no comparison. We didn't know 30 or 40 years ago there were planets around other stars. We didn't know that there was this thing called dark matter, which is 90% of the gravity-producing material in the universe. We know it's there. We still don't know what it is. There's also something called dark energy, which means that the universe is expanding more rapidly now than it was in the past, which is kind of contrary to what everybody had guessed. Thought that gravity would be slowing expansion. Instead, there's this thing called dark energy, kind of an anti-gravity, which making the universe expand more rapidly now than it was in the past. So there's just all these amazing things going on. And we're getting close to being able to, we're already starting to detect the atmospheres around some planets and around other stars. And eventually we'll be able to look for the chemicals or the molecular species that will tell us that there's not just chemistry going on, passive chemistry going on in the atmospheres of these planets, but there's something else happening, like life.
So and speaking of that, is that something that you look for in our form, or is there other, because that's really the only thing we can relate
In
to.
humans?
Well, not only human form, but I mean just form of the things we understand to sustain life. Well, obviously water would be the first thing.
Well, water should naturally be in the atmosphere anyway. But what shouldn't be in the atmosphere is free oxygen. If it weren't for the trees and plants producing oxygen, all the oxygen in the atmosphere would be absorbed into the ground and into the water, and we wouldn't detect it. So if you were at a planet on a distant star looking at the Earth and say, you would then, if you detect oxygen, you know immediately there's something unusual going on.
Okay.
And maybe you'd say that's life. And the same with methane. There's much more methane in the atmosphere than there would be without life.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Life produces methane for obvious reasons, as we know. Yes. So, yeah.
Well,
But being able to discover those things in
Yeah.
a distant planet near a extremely, a star that's vastly brighter than it is extremely difficult technically. You don't just point at a star and say, oh, there's oxygen from this planet nearby. You have to. It's very difficult observations that could lead to its discovery.
Spectroscopy or?
Yeah, spectroscopy. And spectroscopy, the technique that's used right now that's probably the most interesting one is looking at a star that has a planet that passes in front of it. And when this planet passes in front of the star, the light will dim from the star. If you look at different wavelengths, which might be absorbed by, say, oxygen, you'll see that the dimming is different than the dimming at some other wavelength where the atmosphere is transparent. So by looking at many different wavelengths, while a planet is passing in front of its star, the star in which it's orbiting, you could, in principle, learn, what its atmosphere is made of.
Yeah.
In practice, it's extremely difficult because the planet is usually much tinier than the star, and the star, of course, is very, very bright. So, so it's a tricky process. But people are now starting to discover some molecular species like water vapor around some planets. That doesn't tell you about life, but it does tell you that
that element
water,
there is
that water is there.
Yeah.
So
Wow. It just seems everything that you learn today, or especially now, because it seems to be learning at an exponential growth now.
oh yeah, I can't keep up with it.
Yeah, it's almost like we just learned this, now we're starting over again.
Yes.
Because it just kind of erased what we thought was to be true.
Yeah, it's not only that, but the data explosion, which many different sciences are are encountering, it's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
There are robotic telescopes now surveying the sky every night, and then computers compare the images with images of the previous nights and find 1,000 objects that have varied. What kind of objects are they? Some of them, probably the vast majority of them, are variable stars of the type that people are familiar with, but there are always some that aren't. So suddenly, every night you find, say, 30 objects that are doing something that no one's ever seen before.
Wow.
What can you do to follow those up? If we don't have enough telescopes to do that, we need more telescopes, more astronomers, right? More people, right?
More astronomers, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's an amazing field. And lots of
Fascinating
fun to
career.
talk about. Yes. Yeah.
It's always, that's the one question I've always wondered, when I look up, is there somebody else looking back at me right there?
That's right. Yeah. Well, of course, people have been looking for radio signals for a long time.
Right,
Yeah.
From
With
intelligent life elsewhere, no one's found any yet. But there have been some occasional thoughts that you have, like the pulsars, which you probably talked about. People thought they were little green men initially. They could be, but then it turned out that was just a natural phenomenon.
Yeah. So do you have an opinion on that? And as far as what's out there?
I think life must exist elsewhere. I think life is a result of chemistry, complicated chemistry. It may have involved lightning, ultraviolet radiation, and so on. But we know that the Earth, although it's highly unusual, it's orbiting a single star, and it's at the right distance where water is a mixture of frozen liquid and gas. There may only be 1 in a billion stars in which to have a planet in that zone, but of course there are 200 billion stars in our galaxy, so that means
2 trillion galaxies.
2 trillion galaxies. So I think it's got to be, whether it's, I doubt it looks like us, but
but there's something else.
I think so. But
And that's where the
it
hunt
needs
is
to
right
be
now.
proven. What?
That's where the big hunt is right now too for exoplanets is to.
That's what a lot of people are putting time into, time and telescope time and effort into, in trying to find. There are a lot of people who are not working on that at all. There are a lot of people working on cosmological issues. What happened after the Big Bang? How did the first galaxies form? Why are there supermassive black holes in these very young galaxies? How did they form? So those have nothing to do with life. That's another big field that a lot of people are involved in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And our telescope, it observes anything from asteroids in our solar system to the most distant objects that we know of in the universe. So.
I've often wondered, for someone like yourself who has spent so much time analyzing with the equipment that you do and the places you get to do it from, do you ever have a backyard telescope and just look up? Would that be
When I was a
good?
kid, yes, my parents bought a 4-inch telescope. So,
Yeah.
and I have a little spotting scope, so I like to show visitors, the rings of Saturn and
Yeah.
the moons of Jupiter and that. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I wasn't one of these guys who thought I was going to be an astronomer from the time I was a kid.
Okay.
In my case, it came very, very late. Yeah, there's certainly plenty of astronomers who knew from the beginning they wanted to be and managed to do it. But
Yeah.
for me, it was the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
amazing.
fell in love with
journey.
it in my 20s.
Okay. Yeah, it must be difficult to look through a telescope and see what you've seen, and then versus what I might see in my backyard at the
Yes.
moon or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
it's your starting point, right? And
Yeah.
how much passion do you have? I guess. For
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
'Cause you'd
yeah.
have to have passion for it too.
You do, yeah, and there are a lot of exciting things that happen that are completely unexpected. I've managed to be involved in several of those, and it's great when you see something you have no idea that there was anything like this object, or it had these materials in it, and you have no idea why, and you end the night with a huge puzzle on your hands.
Wow.
That's lots of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Puzzle and a big smile.
Yes, yes, yes.
I guess that side of it will never dissipate, will it? No matter how much you retire, you're always.
No. It seems like with every major advance in astronomy technology, new phenomena that are completely unanticipated are discovered, and that's certainly true with the James Webb Telescope as well. It's incredible. Its performance is incredible. It's doing things that we can't get even close to doing from the Earth, and it's
Yeah.
already finding more distant galaxies, younger galaxies than have ever been seen before, that are formed just a few 100 million years after the Big Bang. So,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
I'm gonna act my post.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
He's back in his chair.
Oh, eclipse time.
It was easier to talk that way.
You look like the moon blocking the
Yeah.
sun. Right.
So this event tomorrow, I mean, you're obviously as interested as all of us are.
Oh, yeah.
And to be here. And,
Yes. I would have to say that, these days, eclipses are mainly for people to marvel at. Astronomers can now create equipment that can simulate eclipses very, very well whenever they want. So,
Right.
so
But for the
eclipses
general
have
public,
they have an important role in the past history of astronomy and the development of science. But these days, eclipses of the kind I was talking about when a planet passes in front of us, another star, that's
Right.
important. But solar eclipses we can produce with a coronagraph on a ground-based telescope these days.
Yeah.
So,
But for the general public to get out and see an event like this, it
yeah.
helps to open up their eyes.
spectacular.
To
It's
the
spectacular.
field of astronomy and
Yes.
the celestial
and it led
wonders.
to, not only did people marvel about it, but of course, people were able to calculate when eclipses would happen, and showed that, science is to some extent predictable.
Right.
And some kinds of developments, in particular, some aspects of Einstein's theory of relativity were demonstrated by looking at an eclipse, looking at the stars near the sun during an eclipse. Yeah, and of course, the discovery of the corona
Right.
is another one, which is still a mysterious part of the sun. Yeah,
Wow, what a fascinating career, and
yeah, I'm lucky.
yeah,
Lived through it all. Yeah,
yeah, we were very lucky to have you on the show with us this evening.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
It's been awesome. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure, and we hope you have. Well, we're all looking for clear skies tomorrow.
Yes,
we'll
yes,
share them
yes,
with us.
Yeah. Every eclipse is spectacular to see. Let's hope we see one tomorrow.
Let's hope so.
I think we will. I think we will.
I think we will. We're in a great spot of the country. You must have brought this up, like I said. You brought the sun with us. The clear skies
Indeed.
with us, all the way from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, and we're going to go from there maybe to a vinyl bud next.
I used to use the one screen, as they say.
Thank you.
All right. Share screen.
Thank you very much.
Just this one. I'm gonna try this one, see if that works as a share. And I'll start from the first slide.
Yeah, I think
Did that come up?
it did come up.
Awesome, so binocular target of the week. I wonder if people can hear me. Let me turn my sound on, or can I?
Is your sound on?
No,
Unmute. There.
There you go.
We're getting a bit of a background noise there.
I'll mute.
All right, well, binocular target of the week this week by Bono Bud is, and that's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be the new moon, because the only time you can see the new moon during the daytime is during an eclipse. But don't look at the sun without using the proper filters. I have to say that up front, in front of your binoculars, not behind the eyepiece, in front. The new moon is the first lunar phase when the moon and sun have the same ecliptic longitude. At this phase, the lunar disk is not visible to the naked eye because it's so close to the sun, and it is only visible when it's silhouetted against the sun during a solar eclipse. So you can actually see a new moon during a solar eclipse. That's pretty cool. How would you find it in the sky? Well, tomorrow afternoon, you go outside and orient yourself about 230 degrees west-southwest at 16:30, and guess what? You look up and you're going to see the moon crossing in front of the sun, and it's a rare and special event. As it starts to eclipse, you're going to see a black disk moving across a white disk or an orange disk, depending on what type of solar filter you're using. Excuse me. And during totality, it's going to be amazing. I don't suggest you take your filters off. I suggest you just look at this solar eclipse and see what's going on. But if you were to take the filters off your binoculars for that, say, 2-minute period out of the 3.5 minutes, this is what you're going to see in 10 by 50 binos. It might even be bright enough for you to pick up some earthshine. That would be awesome. Compared to the full moon, guess what? It's the size of the full moon. And that's why you get the eclipse. So, from the sun's perspective, tomorrow, I got mooned. And that's binocular target of the week 5.
Perfect. That fits. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. So we were a little bit late joining on this evening. Had a few issues as well because we are remote tonight. A little bit different location and not as many monitors and as much control. So things didn't start at the very best, but we're still in the show about 26 minutes in right now. So we've got lots of time to talk, and I'd like to see your comments as well. Like, where do you plan on being for this big event? We're in Florenceville. We're very, very fortunate to be here for sure. We're going to be at the North Carleton Civic Center tomorrow, here locally in town, and we're involved, of course, in this Eclipse balloon project, where the balloon is going to be raised up to almost 100,000 feet. It has many cameras on board, and those cameras are going to be looking at the eclipse itself, as well as one camera will be pointed at the ground, and one hoping to catch the shadow moving across the planet Earth at about 5,000 kilometers per hour. We'll be inside the center in front of, I guess, somewhere around 1,000 people, talking all about what they're witnessing, and then we hope to all rush outside right around eclipse totality time, and we are going to say that there's a website, eclipseplus.ca. If you go to eclipseplus.ca, they are offering a live stream of the eclipse from the balloon project. I'm going to try to restream part of it, but I might hold off until actually totality is just about to happen. So I'm going to try to go live on my Facebook page to present that, just so I can present the crowd and the reaction of the crowd during that special event. So that's where we'll be. Where are you going to be? Maybe let us know here in the comments. I can relay some of them back again. If you are coming into
Kind of a kick on the catch-22. The whole reason they built this balloon is they're sending it up is to get it above the clouds, because 98% of the time because it's cloudy. And yet, when you look at the weather forecast, we've got the best weather across the continent. Watching the eclipse.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people that are elsewhere right now that are wishing they were here. So it's I plan to be confused, Genesis. It will be an amazing spectacle. I waited all my life to see totality. I got 85% or so before, but never 100%. So we're still hoping for, crossing the fingers for clear skies, but it does look like it's going to be just us along the path of totality, all the way from Mexico right up to us. The only spot that is actually saying clear is like Holton, Maine, and western to eastern New Brunswick.
Yeah.
So if you still have an opportunity to get to the path of totality, I would recommend you give it a try. Go, take a look at the weather forecast tomorrow morning. Don't leave it too late, but look at the weather forecast tomorrow morning and see where the partly cloudy sky is going to be, if it is partly cloudy at all. And then make your plans from there and be able to jump around if you have to, go where the sun is, because that's where you're going to get the best part of the show. But if you can get into the totality zone, there is a definite difference from 99% to 100%. It's only in totality that you can actually remove your glasses and, basically look at the sun. It's only in totality that you'll get to see the planets Jupiter and Venus pop out. It's only in totality that you'll get to see the diamond ring effect. The Bailey's beads, the diamond ring is basically the sun just piercing the very small piece that's left over when the moon hasn't quite moved in front of the sun. And then Bailey's beads is because the moon is not a smooth surface, it has craters and mountains and things like that. And that's the last 4 or 5 seconds before totality, when sunlight is coming down through the mountains and craters and hitting your eye. And then, of course, right after that is a corona, and that's going to last, depending on where you are, anywhere from a minute
I'm
to.
looking forward to more than anything. And if I could only if only one of my videos or images turns out, it would be the one that the people are reacting at the moment it goes into totality. That's what I'm looking forward to, because the emotions are going to range anywhere from tears to laughter to joy to screaming, all of that. And I'm going to be watching. That's the nice thing about being in the center of the path, is that you have time to observe all of these things. So a little bit of photography, a little bit of taking a look around, but I have a video of like everybody who's around me and what emotional thing happened to them. Because really, that's really what it's all about. That's the climatic part of the eclipse, is to see that emotion come out of people who've been looking forward to this for years. Because we've been talking about this on our show for the last 3 years.
Yeah,
And it's happening within hours. We're going to see this.
we're less than 24 hours away.
That's, I think, what I'm looking forward to, is just that rush of people and their emotions just pouring out, looking at this thing. So,
Don't forget, if you are in an area that is still partial, you're still going to have a great view. The sky is still going to darken. Animals, they do go lay down or whatever. Birds quiet down. The temperature drops 10 to 15 degrees. The winds that are up, they'll die down. Watch for colors around you. Watch the colors change. For kids, a simple project, just to take a piece of cardboard and put a piece of foil over the center of the cardboard and poke a small needle hole through it and put a piece of white cardboard behind it, and they can actually show, the sun is so bright that it will actually show an eclipse back on the other piece of paper behind them. You don't have to have the eclipse glasses, they can watch it indirectly that way. So there's lots of little tricks. You can take a spaghetti strainer, hold it out under the sun, and you'll see a whole pile of little eclipses on the ground. So all these little tricks like that kids can have a great time with as well.
Every amateur astronomer in New Brunswick is going to be out on the street somewhere.
oh yeah.
Helping to show what's going on here, whether it be with their own telescopes or, and filters and stuff like that, or even, come up to places like this. Every amateur is going to be out there on the ground and
Absolutely.
show this thing. It's going to be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, on March the 29th of next year, we have it, so don't throw those glasses away, because there is another eclipse coming up on March 29th of next year. It's a partial eclipse, but it's actually going to be happening at sunrise. So as the sun comes up in the morning sky, it'll already be like a crescent sun shape, because the moon will have already moved in front of it. And then as it rises, the moon will begin to move away. So it's about 80%, 85% or so next year. And I think the next 6 years, I believe there's some type of an eclipse happening. There's one in October this year of a lunar eclipse as well, total lunar eclipse, where we'll get nice and red, the moon. So we've got these events coming up, celestial along the way, but of course the big one is tomorrow. And it's hard to believe that we're saying it's tomorrow now. Really, it's just kind of sinking in all of a sudden. But
Like
so
Candy store.
candy store. Heather says, Frederick, I'm closing my store early so that I can watch the eclipse with my 89-year-old mother, who is super excited to be able to watch the eclipse from her balcony at home. That's an awesome. Wow. That's amazing. Good for you. I hope she gets to see a great view. And I'm sure in Fredericton, you're going to get 2 minutes and 17 seconds. I think in Fredericton, really, nobody really knows what the crowds are going to be like. That's the whole question, and how busy the highways are going to be, because we are prime spot now. For some reason, we are prime. So, we're getting people traveling in from other parts of the world that are looking for flights apparently right now, trying to get to New Brunswick quickly to get here before tomorrow for the event. And we're going to have a lot of people from Nova Scotia moving in. Quebecers are going to move down in because they're getting clouded out parts of their area. So we are the prime spot. So watch the traffic and head out early in the morning if you're planning on getting to someplace like Fredericton or farther up on the line of totality, because you're gonna.
You got a professional astronomer from Hawaii.
Yeah, there you go. just with us on the show tonight, it was amazing to have him on. Wow, what a career. So think about the highway traffic. You are probably going to be slow getting back home again. Bring along a lunch. Bring along some medication if you need medication, because you could be hours getting back to where you were when you started out. Plan for that. Get out early in the morning, and make a full day of it, because it's going to be a full day for you, no matter where you go on the path. Or Mukto, you're around on 1 minute and 16 seconds. I think when you get to Fredericton, you pick up an extra minute, so you're 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Up here at Florenceville, around 3 minutes and 20 seconds, which is one of the longest in New Brunswick anyway. But again, the farther you move up, because it is a circle that's moving across the planet, if you're down at the bottom of the circle, you're going to have less time within the zone of totality. But try to get there if you can, because you will, if you just said, no, you're going to hear all about it from all the people that were in the path that said you should have went. But anyway, we're going to go from there to Rosanna's fun fact next.
Thank you.
And I'll mute.
See if I can do this correctly like we did the last one. And let me just see if I can find the end of it. Oh, I went by it. No, I guess it's not going to do it. We're going to have to do it. Rosanna's fun fact.
Technicalities when you're live. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, welcome back, Rosanna, and we are so glad to share this night with you. And of course, the eclipse is coming tomorrow, and I know that your fun fact is going to be just so wrapped up with that. So let's just get right into Rosanna's fun fact this week. So Rosanna writes, "Hi, Paul. As the countdown ramps up now to less than 24 hours until the day becomes night, the social scene." Let me just get that right here. Sorry, first. There we go. The social scene. My audio's low. Okay. Just one sec here. I gotta stop sharing just for a minute, and then I'll get my audio hopefully to work a little better. No, I see what happened there.
Here, let's try again. Okay. So I'll make me now. Okay.
There we go. Am I better? Can somebody confirm they can hear me a little better there now? All right. And let me share my screen again. And I'll go back to where we started. Okay. So as the countdown ramps up now, less than 24 hours until day becomes night. Just one sec, I gotta move something so I can see. The social scene is getting a little squirrely. You should have seen it. People went nuts. Here are some headlines, all true, from conversations out and about these past few days. Oops, wrong way. Sorry. There we go. So the local trucking companies were unable to obtain oversized permits for April the 8th in the US. What does that mean? It means anything we are currently shipping to the US that is oversized, which could be vehicles, tractors, industrial machinery, housing, concrete supports, etc., cannot move an inch anytime on April the 8th south of the border. I keep pressing the wrong button. There we go. So what do you mean the roof is still in Canada? Oh, did I even get that one on there? I didn't either. Excuse, I got everything buggered up tonight, but that's okay. I'll keep going. There is an actual reason besides expected traffic jams. Oversized loads generally are not allowed to travel after dark. However, since we do know that the actual times of totality permits could be specific as to times and which states to travel in, as they are often are, but a 24-hour delay was deemed safer. Now, in parts of India, fasting is being greatly appreciated. Let me just see if I can find that one. I can't even find the pictures. I get them all buggered up now. Oh, yeah, they're not even showing up here. Do you have it? Okay, I don't know what you're seeing. I can't tell. I've only got my one screen and I don't know what I'm seeing anymore. Anyway, in parts of India, fasting is being greatly encouraged as there is a long-held belief that food prepared during an eclipse will be poisonous and impure. Another superstition that has a positive spin to it is that in Italy, it is believed that flowers planted during an eclipse will be brighter and more colorful than any planet at any other time of the year. And by now, probably everyone has heard that the Niagara region has been preemptively declared a state of emergency, fearing a crush of crowds flocking to the area to view the social eclipse. Regional Chair Jim Bradley said the state of emergency was declared out of abundance of caution. However, an Ontario advocacy group is trying to take Niagara region to court after the local government declared a state of emergency ahead of Monday's total solar eclipse. The Canadian Constitution Foundation filed a notice of application for a judicial review of the region's state of emergency, also called on Ontario Premier Doug Ford to intervene. The CCF is deeply concerned about the proliferation of declarations of emergency in situations where no genuine emergencies exist, the group said in a statement issued on Friday. Now, let me see if I got this picture right. There it is, I got it right. Yay! So Dr. Kate Russo, which is the picture you're actually seeing this time, psychologist, author, and eclipse chaser who has witnessed 13 total eclipses and counting, has interviewed eclipse viewers from around the world. She continues to notice the same emotions felt by all. They begin with a sense of wrongness and primal fear as totality approaches. When totality starts, we feel powerful awe and connection to the world around us. A sense of euphoria develops as we continue watching. And when it's over, we have a strong desire to seek out the next eclipse. And all over the internet, eclipse playlists are popping up. Let's see if I can go the right way this time. Hey, I got it right again. Are popping up to accompany your viewing. Here's a lesser-known musical detail about the song, Total Eclipse of the Heart. Jim Steinman actually wrote that song for Meatloaf. Due to a slightly convoluted situation between the duo, the song went to Bonnie Tyler. And the rest is history. If you watched any news for even a moment, you also know that Carly Simon's daughter lives in the Maritimes, in fact, Nova Scotia, and will have her mom's famous song playing on repeated during the event. That's pretty cool. Actually, I watched a couple of interviews of that over the last few days. Art and souvenirs are popping up everywhere. If you happen to be going to Kingston, Ontario for the eclipse, yeah, there we go. For the eclipse, you can pick this card up from Lost and Found Art for a very reasonable $5. That's kind of cool. So here we go. Countdown is on. Cheers to everyone on the last sleep before an experience like none other graces your existence. And that is this week's bumper-lump-a-lump-a-lump, Rosanna's Fun Facts.
Thank you so much, Rosanna, for that absolutely wonderful fun fact. And as usual, timely as it should be.
I'll be glad when we get back to our normal show. Things were a lot smoother back then. Thanks, Paul, and thank you, Rosanna. Awesome. Okay. Well, I guess from there, we're not going to really go too much longer. Just to mention the fact that hope everybody is going to have a great day tomorrow. And if you are working, I'm really sorry that you are. I really hope you can try to maybe be a little sick tomorrow, but if you have to take one sick day a year, make it this one. Anyway, so that's pretty our show, I think, for this evening. And I am going to mention that my contest that I have going on right now for kids to draw a drawing about the eclipse and send it in, just have their parents take a picture of that drawing or their teacher. Send it into astronomybythebay@gmail.com. I'm collecting all the entries now. Once April 9th comes along, I'll have a lot more time to gather them together and put them together. Expect all this is just going to go like this after tomorrow. So the contest closes on Friday evening at midnight, and we'll probably have our draw next week on the program, when we hope to be talking to all of you again as well about what you experienced through the day tomorrow. So whether you're in partial totality or you're in total or partial eclipse, I'm sorry, or full totality, we want to hear your stories. We want to see your pictures of the event, and share them all here with us, because it's something that we're all going to be looking forward to for sure. So with that, then I'm going to say that's our show for this evening. We hope you enjoyed our program tonight. A special thanks to our guest Tom for joining us this evening. Wow, what an amazing career that guy had, and so nice to have him on the program with us. Next week, we're back to our normal program, whatever normal happens to be for us. Should I say normal? Anyway, but we'll be talking about our experience and want to hear all about yours as well. So special thanks, of course, goes out to Rosanna once again for a fabulous Fun Facts episode. Thank you, Rosanna. And to all of you who share our program for us out there, we really do appreciate it. Remember, too, we do love getting your photos. We're going to gather them all together for next week as well. So please send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com. And we'll be happy to bring them up on our next broadcast. A special thanks again to our friends out at Rogers for joining us again this evening. So until next week, we wishing all of you clear skies. As we like to say, guys, open your eyes to view the skies and keep your scopes pointed up. All right, and I just need a second to get our closing screen up and going, and I think we can sign off right after that. Maybe.
Okay, my fingers getting tired.
Keep those scopes pointed. Can you keep your scopes pointed up, please? We'll try again. All right, good night, everybody.